Thank you for having me here. I'm delighted to be here with you today. And I'm talking to you about brands that dream. Brands that dream. But this is emerging paths, so what I have to give you is emerging paths. Paths to follow. Paths to follow for those of you who have to manage a brand, who have to manage a company, who have to manage a new project, and a starting company, whatever it is. If I can refer a little bit to the market that we have today in the developed countries, you will immediately see that we have more brands that we need. You just have to go to a supermarket, you have to go somewhere, anywhere, and you have more brands that you need. I remember still when my parents had to buy a car, they had two choices, only two choices. There were two cars, not like today that you want to buy a small car and you have probably 15, 20 options. You know, everybody is like trying to beating you on the head that buy my car, buy my brand, buy my thing. The problem of that is not that we have a lot of offer. The problem of that is that, you know, what creates is that kind of parity. We see all the cars alike. You don't see a difference. It has to be a Rolls Royce, or it has to be a Bentley, or it has to be an Aston Martin, something like that, to see the difference. All the rest look the same. Same looks, same shape, same everything. Same performance, same everything. But this has also a consequence. We consumers, we human beings, have developed a mechanism in our brain that is absolutely automatic and skips information, what I call mental zapping. You don't need a hand command to change the television when advertising appears. No, you just switch it with your mind automatically. You are watching television. You are there sitting on a sofa. Advertising comes. When it is finished, ask yourself, have I seen something? Do I remember something? And even more dramatically, you came this morning and you probably went through advertising on the streets. You saw buses or trams or trolleys or something that had advertising in it. Do you remember it? No way. But it happens with the films you see in television. Sometimes you're watching something on television or in the cinema, and when 45 minutes has elapsed, suddenly it says, I've seen that series. I've seen that, you know. That happens. Is your automatic brain that skips information, doesn't click when the information passes. So we have this society in which all brands are trying to raise our attention. This gives parity, and parity gives way to indifference. What can we do? If you are a leader of a brand, if you want to sell a product or a service or something, anything you want to sell, what can you do? Because we don't care about you. We don't think about you. I'm not. Please don't give me more information. I have enough. It's like when you go to a fashion shop that somebody says, can I help you? Says, no, I'm looking. And says, why? The person could tell you, it's my shop, you know. It says, I'm just looking around. We've been used to that by brands, by companies, by retailing companies. What can we do? That's something that a professor, David Meister, said to me once and stick in my mind. If you want others to do what you want, you better do what they want first. And that's clear in human lives. I mean, if you want somebody to love you, the first thing you have to do is to love him first. If you want to be liked, you better like people first. Then you will get back. So there's an action-reaction movement here in which I act, I love you, then you can love me. I like you, you like me. You want something from the others, better do something for them first. So, if I may put you in another way, selling is understanding human behavior. If we don't understand human behavior today, it's very difficult to sell. And human behavior related to what I told you before, this kind of indifference that we have in front of brands. let's take the first emerging path, the first story, or the first thing that can help you. This is called the value theory, and it's been invented a long time ago. I just use it in another way, but this is a 3 steps theory. When you start something that is absolutely new, like a new company with a new project, a new product, or whatever, the first thing you do is to talk about the product. Everybody will be interested if it is. When iPad appeared the first time, everybody was interested on it. Even the press, the magazines, so everybody was talking about the iPad. Everybody. Suddenly when the iPad Air appeared, nobody was interested. Or so much interested. Not long queues on stores. Not as long as before. So instrumental means, what does the product for me? What do I get from the product? It's a totally selfish reaction. If you take a ballpoint, for example, a big ballpoint, just writes, and you purchase it for writing. That's it. You write with it and it's okay. It lasts long, it's okay. And now they put a kind of pad that doesn't affect your finger. So they've improved the product. But that's, you know, just for writing. That's the instrumental part of it. The problem is that when you have that parity we just talked about, after a while, all of them look alike. And you go to purchase a Bic and they can sell you a Bic or another brand. Doesn't matter. I need a ballpoint. That's what I need. And then companies have started to discover that I have to move your feelings, the emotional part. It's not enough to talk about the product, but I have to do something that is funny, it's relevant, I make you laugh, I make you cry. I have a little baby with a dog on my advertising so that you immediately get attached to it because it's a baby and a dog. I do things that are related to our emotions. They make us kick a movement inside. This has been used, for example, I don't know, Coca-Cola on a certain, the sparkle of life or whatever it was the campaign, but you know, it was nice people with blue eyes all singing together in Christmas around a Christmas tree, people who were fantastic and that you would like and love forever. That's the emotional part. We went one step forward, one step up. But it was not enough. Again, you know, there were many people who were not happy with that and saw that everybody was bringing the same emotions and everybody was putting little babies with dogs in their advertising. And when you had too many babies and too many dogs, it doesn't ring a bell. So they invented, or we invented something else that was the central values. And central values have to do with ideology, have to do with philosophy, have to do with what we believe in, the inner inside. So I could, let's say, simplify and say instrumentals are mental, emotionals are heart, and central are soul. Brands that use emotional or central values today, if they do it right, they excel. If you make a list of the brands that you like, the brands that you're attached to, the brands that you respect, the brands that you mention from time to time, usually they're giving you emotional or central values. And that takes me to success. What is success today in a company business? Success is when we dream. It happens when we dream. When we want to make something for them, not for us. Starting a business today to make money, you know, usually doesn't work. And we are talking about new technologies all day long. And we were talking to the dean of a very famous business school only 2 weeks ago at IESE. And we were mentioning that from 1,000 startups, 1,000, only 10 succeeded. Only 10 from 1,000 in the United States. That's a very relative small proportion. Why? Because they start because they want to make money. They don't want to give you anything. It's like, you know, I'm going to use internet on my behalf, on my profit, and it doesn't work. We looked at the ones that worked, and all of them had something inside that had to do with values that were emotional or central. We're touching some areas of our things, of our being that was emotional or central. So central and emotional values cannot be just sold and that's it. You cannot do cosmetic advertising. You cannot do cosmetic marketing, cosmetic communications. You cannot just say it. You have to be like that. And when I was talking about respected companies, are companies that they believe in that seriously, deeply, inside they believe in it. So it means that probably your company has to change. Probably your company has to start rethinking what are their beliefs, what's their ideology, what's their philosophy, which are the principles, what do I do for you? How do I revert what I have, my knowledge, my capacity, my products, my everything to society? How do I give it back? Well, the second path is that once you have that ideology, the bigger it is, the bigger the stone you have. Ideology, if we make a similitude or a simile with a stone, you know, those companies that have big ideology, the stone gets bigger. Are those companies that when you ask, can you tell me about your company? It says, well, have you got half an hour? Because it's not something I can say. We make toys. And says, well, toys, I said, okay. And I says, no, I'm not doing toys. Or I'm not doing furniture. I can tell you, you know, I'm IKEA. And what I do is this and that and that. And we have shop. And when we hire people, we do this and the process and how many people per person we have. And how do we provide the service and what we want and with your satisfaction. They start to talk about the values of the company. What they do for you. So the bigger the ideology, the bigger the stone. You get that stone, you throw it into the lake and immediately you have waves. Well, those waves go from the inside out. You know, the ideology, the first wave is the management. The top management of a company is the chairman, the founder, the CEO, management group, whatever it is. It's those people. They have to be convinced. There cannot be one that is not convinced. But it has to, you know, it has to be transmitted to everybody. You have to be enthusiastic about your ideology. If not, it doesn't work. The second, it will be your people. Your personnel. And the second probably are the families of the personnel. When you get home, you take, hey, you know, Maria, this is what happened. Well, it's great, it's extraordinary, it's fantastic. Something happened in my company today, it was great. You know what we are doing next week? Well, we are going to a training program and I'm preparing and blah, 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 blah. I have to produce a video with my iPhone and blah. Anyway, second, third, still in the company, then is suppliers, and then is, you know, your institutions and blah, blah, blah. Finally, at the far end is the consumer. What we did before was, you know, this stone, we were throwing it on the head of the consumer. He was listening to us because he had nothing in his head. But he's got plenty of things. We've got plenty. Our head is full. The hard disk is full. We cannot accept more. So the stoning lake has to start from the inside out. And there's this transmission of philosophy, of vibrations, of ideology, you know, it permeates your society and it goes and it goes and it goes. So if you allow me to summarize what I'm saying, it's a change in society that is taking humanity seriously. Today you cannot have a company that considers that my private life is something and my company life is another thing. Today companies have to have the private and the company life together. Same ideology, same principles. If you love your children, your neighbors, your family, your whatever, you have to love your employees. And there's nothing wrong in loving employees, in taking them into account, in listening to them intently, respecting them. Making a bottom-up company where everybody searches from the bottom up. That's taking humans in consideration. The second thing, if you take that, is that your brand will be stronger. Because you won't be the only single ambassador of your brand. You will have plenty of ambassadors. All your people will be your ambassador. Everybody will talk about you well. You know people who talks about their company or their brand very well, that they cannot go to a dinner party without talking about their brand. And then says, well, wow, that's it. You have a lot of loudspeakers, a lot of ambassadors, a lot of apostles over the world. And then this creates fans. Those companies who have fans, ask yourselves, those companies who have fans, those people who are talking gladly about a company or a brand, what happens to them? What are the companies or the brands giving them? Well, that's it. Stronger brands have stronger fans. And finally, these fans create word of mouth among consumers. So they talk about you, not only in Twitter, they talk about you with the mouth, humanly. And your brand will survive longer. Because even if you have more competitors and more competitors and more competitors, your brand will be seen as an individual person, an interesting brand, something that interests me, that I want to help, that I want to count on. And finally, as my friends in America will say, you make more money. Thank you very much for listening to this. Thank you. Thank you.